The needle slid out of her arm, and Elena's vision blurred as the nurse pressed gauze to the puncture site, but all she could see was the stranger on the gurney, unconscious, pale as death, and somehow pulling at something deep in her chest, like a fishhook wrapped around her soul. Wait, before the next revelation unfolds, if this mystery has already captivated you, let us know where you're following this story from. To ensure you don't miss unexpected claims, broken bonds, or awakenings under the moon, subscribe and stay close. Now, back to the scene. "You shouldn't have done that," the nurse murmured, her voice edged with something Elena couldn't name. Fear, maybe? Or awe? "You gave too much. Your iron levels." "Will he live?" Elena's throat felt lined with sandpaper. The fluorescent lights of the emergency clinic turned everything harsh and clinical, but the man's face, strong jaw, dark hair matted with blood, seemed to glow with an otherworldly quality, even in his stillness. The nurse hesitated. "Because of you? Yes, but you need to rest. You're a student, aren't you? You can't afford to—" "I'm fine." Elena pushed herself upright, ignoring the way the room tilted. She'd given blood before, donated plasma for grocery money, but never like this. Never, straight from her arm to his in an emergency transfusion, because the hospital had run out of his rare type, and the ambulance wouldn't make it in time from the city. Never, while feeling like every drop that left her body carried a piece of her soul with it. "What's his name?" she asked. The nurse's expression shuddered. "That's confidential." Elena should have left it alone, should have collected the $200 they'd promised for the emergency donation and walked back to her studio apartment above the laundromat, should have studied for her organic chemistry midterm and forgotten the way the stranger's chest had risen with renewed breath as her blood entered his veins. But her feet wouldn't move. "Miss Chen, you need to go home." The nurse's tone had sharpened. "Now." That's when Elena noticed the men in the hallway. 4 of them, dressed in black, their postures radiating a predatory stillness that made her hindbrain scream warnings. They weren't hospital security. They moved like soldiers, like weapons. One of them locked eyes with her, and she felt it, that same inexplicable pull, but filtered through hostility. He knew. Somehow, he knew what she'd done, and he wasn't grateful. Elena grabbed her backpack and fled. The dreams started that night. Forests under a full moon, the taste of wild wind, a howl that resonated in her bones, and him, the stranger, standing naked in moonlight, his body transforming, bones reshaping, fur rippling across skin that had somehow touched through her blood. Elena woke, gasping, her sheets soaked with sweat. Ridiculous. She'd watched too many supernatural dramas during finals week, stress hallucinations, low iron causing vivid dreams. But when she touched her arm where the needle had been, the skin tingled with heat. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Stay away from him. Her hands trembled. She blocked the number. 3 days later, she saw him again. The university library, 4th floor, tucked into her usual corner desk with a view of the quad. Elena had her head buried in her textbook when that same pull, that fishhook feeling, yanked her attention up. He stood by the history section, watching her. Alive, whole, devastatingly beautiful in the afternoon light streaming through the tall windows. He wore dark jeans and a fitted black shirt, but something about the way he carried himself suggested he was more comfortable in formal wear or nothing at all. Elena's face burned. Where had that thought come from? He moved toward her, and the other students seemed to unconsciously part for him, creating a path like he was royalty. "You saved my life." His voice was deep, textured like aged whiskey. "Elena? Chen? How do you know my—" "I know everything about you." He pulled out the chair across from her, sitting without invitation. Up close, his eyes were amber. Not brown, not gold, but genuinely amber, like a wolf's. "Your financial aid barely covers tuition. You work 3 jobs. Your mother died when you were 16. You have no pack." The last word hit her like a slap. I don't know what you're talking about." But her voice wavered. "Yes, you do." He leaned forward, and she caught his scent, pine and rain and something wild. "You've been having the dreams, feeling the pull. Your blood called to mine, Elena. Do you know what that means?" "That we're the same blood type." His smile was slow, dangerous. "That you're my mate." The textbook slipped from her numb fingers. "That's insane. We don't. Mates aren't real." "Tell that to the wolf inside you that's been clawing at your ribs for 3 days." Elena stood abruptly, her chair scraping loud enough to earn glares from nearby students. "I'm human. I don't have a wolf. I'm a biology major, and I can guarantee that lycanthropy is not—" "Elena." The way he said her name froze her in place. It wasn't a command exactly, more like a caress and a cage at once. Your father was a shifter. Your mother was human. She kept you hidden, suppressed your wolf with herbs and will and desperate love. But your wolf knows me now. She tasted my blood when you gave me yours, and she woke up." "Stop!" "I'm Dominic Thorne, Alpha King of the Northern Territory. And you—" "Stop!" Her whole body was shaking. "I don't want this. I don't want any of this. I just wanted to help someone who was dying." The amber in his eyes softened. "I know. That's why you're dangerous." "What?" "You gave your blood to a stranger without hesitation. You risked yourself." "Do you know how rare that is? How many people would have walked past me?" The nurse asked for volunteers. She asked the waiting room full of shifters who could smell exactly who I was. None of them came forward. They were too afraid. But you, human, fragile, with no understanding of our world, you didn't hesitate." Elena's lungs felt too small. "Because I didn't know." "Exactly." Dominic stood, moving around the table until he was close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. "You showed me mercy without politics, without pack alliances or fear of retribution. You saved the life of the most powerful shifter in the territory, and you asked for nothing. I asked for $200, which you used to pay your electric bill." His hand lifted, fingertips ghosting along her jaw, and Elena's breath caught. "The mate bond doesn't make mistakes, Elena. It chose you. I'm here to claim what's mine." She jerked back. "I'm not property. No." His expression turned fierce. "You're my queen." Then he was gone, leaving Elena alone with her racing heart and the whispers of students who had witnessed enough to fuel gossip for weeks. She tried to ignore him. Impossible. Dominic was everywhere. Not physically. He didn't stalk her or show up at her jobs. But his presence saturated her life like smoke. Flowers appeared on her doorstep. Black roses, night-blooming jasmine, moonflowers. Each bouquet came with a card bearing a single word in bold script: mine. Her overdue library fees vanished. Her student account suddenly showed a paid balance for the semester. The laundromat owner, Mr. Kim, sheepishly told her she didn't need to work weekends anymore. Someone had hired her position indefinitely, but should still be paid. Who? She demanded. Mr. Kim wouldn't meet her eyes. Elena wanted to be angry. She was angry. This was manipulation, control, everything she'd fought against her whole life. Shed clawed her way to university through scholarships and sacrifice, refusing handouts, refusing to be dependent on anyone. But the dreams intensified. Every night, Dominic in the moonlight, his wolf, massive, black-furred, with those same amber eyes, running beside a smaller wolf that her sleeping mind insisted was hers. Together, they were poetry, Power and grace, shadow and moonlight, two halves of something ancient and undeniable. Shed wake aching. 2 weeks after the library confrontation, Elena found herself in the campus medical center requesting iron supplements. The doctor, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, took her blood pressure and frowned. "Your levels are actually excellent, better than before you donated." "That's impossible." Yet here we are. The doctor studied her. "You're experiencing other symptoms? Vivid dreams? Heightened senses?" Elena's stomach dropped. "How did you—" "I'm Dr. Sarah Winters. I'm also the PAC physician for the Northern Territory." Her smile was gentle. "Elena, suppressing your wolf nature isn't sustainable. Your mother did what she thought was best, but now that you've connected with your mate, the bond will force the change. You can either fight it and make yourself sick, or you can learn to accept who you really are." "I don't want to be a shifter." "Why not?" The question, so simple, so direct, cracked something inside her. "Because my mother died trying to keep me safe from that world. Because she told me, before the cancer took her, that I had to stay hidden, that they'd kill me if they knew what I was." Dr. Winter's expression turned grave. "Who would kill you?" "She never said. Just they." Elena's voice broke. She was terrified, made me promise I'd never shift, never seek out other shifters, never tell anyone. And I kept that promise. Even when I felt wrong in my own skin, even when I dreamed of running through forests I'd never seen. I kept her promise. "Your mother loved you." Dr. Winters reached across the desk, taking Elena's hand. But she was operating on incomplete information. The old regime, before Dominic took control, was brutal. Halflings like you were considered weak, disposable. But Dominic changed that. He executed the old guard who enforced those laws. He's been rebuilding the territory on principles of strength and merit, not bloodline purity. How convenient that he's my mate, then. Is it? Dr. Winters tilted her head. Or is it precisely why the mate bond chose him for you? The universe doesn't make mistakes, Elena. Dominic needed someone who understood both worlds, someone who could bridge human and shifter, someone whose compassion was proven in action, not words. Elena pulled her hand back. "I just want to finish my degree and live my life." "You can, but fighting your nature will destroy you." Dr. Winters stood. "Dominic is hosting a gathering tomorrow night at his estate. It's a casual event, PAC members, families, nothing formal. He's invited you. Come, see the world you're rejecting before you make your final choice. And if I refuse, then he'll respect that." Dr. Winters moved to the door, pausing. "But the bond won't fade, Elena. It'll burn until one of you dies. Is that the life you want?" Elena wore her only nice dress, a simple navy sheath she'd bought at a thrift store for scholarship interviews, and felt catastrophically underdressed the moment she saw Dominic's estate. The term estate was insufficient. This was a compound. Sprawling grounds surrounded a modern mansion of glass and dark wood, blending architectural sophistication with raw, natural beauty. The forest pressed close, and Elena could hear water running somewhere nearby, a stream or waterfall. Shifters moved across the lawn in elegant clothes. Their laughter carried on the evening breeze. Children played tag while adults watched indulgently. It looked like a high-end garden party. It looked like a family. Elena's chest constricted. "You came." Dominic's voice behind her, warm with something that might have been relief. She turned. He wore dark slacks and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, somehow managing to look both refined and dangerous. The setting sun caught in his eyes, turning them molten. Dr. Winters was persuasive. "Sarah's good at that." He offered his arm. "Come, let me introduce you." "As what? Your mate? Your queen?" Bitterness crept into her tone. "I didn't agree to any of this." "As Elena," he said simply, "the woman who saved my life." That disarmed her. She took his arm. The pack members were not what she expected. Yes, they radiated power, an alpha couple here, a group of enforcers there, but they were also warm, welcoming, curious without being intrusive. A woman named Margaret hugged her like they were old friends. A teenager named Lucas excitedly explained his plan to study marine biology. An elderly man named Thomas took her hand and said, quietly, "Thank you for bringing our king back to us." "I just gave blood," she murmured. "You gave hope," Thomas smiled. The attack that nearly killed Dominic was an assassination attempt. Silver-laced blades, coordinated, brutal. They wanted to send our territory into chaos. But you, random chance or fate, you were there. You gave of yourself without knowing the consequences. That kind of courage is what makes a true leader. Elena didn't know what to say. Dinner was served on long tables under string lights as the sun set. Elena found herself seated beside Dominic at the head table, hyper-aware of how every action was noted by the assembled pack. He didn't touch her, but his presence was a constant warmth at her side. "Tell me about your mother," he said quietly, under the cover of conversation around them. Elena's throat tightened. "Why?" "Because she shaped you. Because understanding your past helps me understand why you're fighting this so hard." She took a sip of wine, excellent wine, probably worth more than her monthly rent, and tried to find words. She was a nurse. She met my father during a medical emergency, fell in love too fast, got pregnant before she realized he wasn't normal. When she found out about shifters, about what I might become, she ran, hid, moved us every few years, always looking over her shoulder. "What happened to your father?" "Dead. Killed in some pack war before I was born." Elena's fingers tightened on her glass. She never talked about him except to say he was dangerous, that his world was dangerous, that I had to stay away or I'd end up dead too. Dominic was quiet for a long moment. "What was his name?" "David Chen. He was from the Eastern Territory, I think." "Why?" The table had gone silent. Elena looked up to find every shifter within earshot staring at her with expressions ranging from shock to horror to something that might have been pity. "What?" Her voice came out small. Dominic's jaw was tight. "David Chen was my father's chief enforcer. He was executed for treason 27 years ago, accused of plotting to overthrow the Alpha Line." The world tilted. "No." Elena pushed her chair back. "No, my father died in a battle. My mother said." "Your mother lied to protect you." Dominic caught her hand before she could flee. "Elena, listen to me. The old Alpha, my father, was paranoid and cruel. He executed dozens of loyal pack members on false charges. David Chen was one of them. If your mother knew you were his daughter, she had every reason to run. My father would have killed you both." "Your father." The words tasted like ash. "The Alpha who made the laws against halflings, who created the world my mother feared." "Yes." "And you're his son?" She yanked her hand free. "You're his heir. You benefited from his reign. How am I supposed to trust you?" "Because I killed him." Dominic's voice was flat, emotionless. 5 years ago, I challenged him for the Alpha ship. I fought him in front of the entire pack, and when he fell, I made sure he couldn't rise again. Every law he created, I've dismantled. Every loyalist who supported his regime, I've exiled or executed. I've spent 5 years trying to atone for his sins. Elena's eyes burned. That doesn't change what he did. What your world did to my family. No, Dominic agreed. But it might explain why the mate bond chose us for each other. I need someone who understands the cost of power, who won't let me become what my father was. And you need someone who can protect you from the ghosts of the past. I don't need protection. Everyone needs protection, Elena. The question is whether you'll accept it. She stood, and this time he didn't stop her. I need air. The forest called her. Elena walked away from the lights and laughter, following a stone path into the trees. The moon was rising, nearly full, and something inside her stirred at the sight. Something with teeth and hunger and a longing so deep it felt like grief. She'd gone maybe a quarter mile when she heard the footsteps behind her. Not Dominic's measured tread. These were lighter, faster, multiple people moving with predatory coordination. Elena turned. 3 men emerged from the shadows, their eyes glowing amber in the moonlight. She recognized one, the man from the hospital hallway, the one who'd looked at her with such hostility. "Little halfling," he purred, "all alone." Her heart slammed against her ribs. Dominic is right back there. Dominic is occupied with his guests. The man smiled, showing 2 sharp teeth. "And you're a problem that needs solving. I haven't done anything. You're David Chen's daughter. You're a stain on this pack's honor, a reminder of traitors and weakness. And now our king wants to make you queen." He laughed, cold and cruel. "We gave you warnings. We told you to stay away. But you couldn't help yourself, could you? Had to come sniffing around for power, for money." "I came because I was invited," Elena snapped, fear transforming into anger. "And I don't want any of this. I was fine before Dominic showed up. I just wanted to help someone, and now you're a liability." The man shifted forward. "So we're going to make this simple. You disappear. Tell the king you can't handle pack life. Reject the bond. Walk away. Or we make you disappear permanently." His hand shot out, faster than human, gripping her throat. "Your choice, halfling." Elena couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The world narrowed to his amber eyes, and the pressure cutting off her air. Then something inside her snapped. Heat exploded through her body. Her bones sang with pain and power, reshaping, changing. Fur rippled across her skin. Her jaw extended, teeth sharpening. The man's grip faltered as Elena's body transformed in his hands. She fell to 4 legs, gasping, and looked down at paws covered in silver-gray fur. The 3 men stared. "Impossible," one breathed. "She's never shifted before." But Elena wasn't listening. Instinct took over. Her wolf fully emerged and furious. She lunged, not at the leader, but at the one to his right, the one who'd moved to flank her. Her teeth found his shoulder, tearing through shirt and flesh, and the taste of blood made her wolf sing. They fought. Elena was untrained, clumsy, operating on pure instinct. But she was also desperate and surprisingly strong. Her wolf, fueled by years of suppression, finally released. She gave ground, took wounds, felt ribs crack under heavy paws. And then Dominic was there. His wolf was massive, black as midnight, rage incarnate. He tore into the 3 men with brutal efficiency. And suddenly, Elena understood what it meant to be an alpha king. This wasn't a fight. It was an execution. Within minutes, all 3 men lay bleeding in wolf form, throats exposed in submission. Dominic shifted back to human, gloriously naked and spattered with blood. His eyes, still amber, still wolf-touched, found Elena. "Change back," he said gently. She didn't know how. Panic clawed at her, her wolf whining in confusion. She was stuck, trapped in this form, unable to. Dominic knelt beside her, his hand stroking the fur at her neck. "Breathe, Elena. Feel your human body underneath. It's still there. You're still you. Just breathe and let go." She tried, failed, whined in frustration. "I've got you." His voice was an anchor. "I won't let you fall. Trust me." And somehow, impossibly, she did. The shift reversed, painful and awkward, until Elena lay gasping on the forest floor, human and naked and utterly vulnerable. Dominic immediately shrugged out of his jacket. Apparently he'd grabbed clothes before following, and wrapped it around her. "You shifted," he said, wonder in his voice. "Your first time, and you shifted to protect yourself." "They were going to kill me." Her teeth were chattering. "Yes." His expression went cold as he looked at the three men. Guards. Enforcers appeared from the trees. They must have followed Dominic and hauled the three prisoners upright. "Marcus, James, Peter," Dominic said, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. "You're charged with attempted murder of my mate, conspiracy against the crown, and violating the laws protecting halflings. You have 3 seconds to explain yourselves before I execute you where you stand." Marcus, the leader, spat blood. "She's a traitor's daughter. She doesn't belong." 1. "The pack won't accept her. They remember David Chen's betrayal." 2. "Dominic, think. You can't make a halfling queen." 3. Dominic's claws extended. "Any last words?" "Wait!" Elena struggled upright, pulling Dominic's jacket tighter. "Don't kill them." Every shifter froze. "What?" Dominic turned to her, genuine confusion on his face. "Don't kill them," she repeated. "Exile them. Strip their pack bonds. Make them rogues, but don't kill them." "They tried to murder you." "I know." Her voice was steady despite the trembling in her limbs. "But if you execute them, it proves them right. It proves that I'm a dangerous influence, that I make you weak. But if you show mercy, if you prove that your laws protect everyone, even your enemies, then you show strength." Dominic stared at her for a long moment. Then, slowly, he smiled. "You're going to be a terrifying queen." "I haven't agreed." "Exile," he announced, cutting her off. "Marcus, James, Peter, you're hereby severed from the Northern Territory. Your pack bonds are broken. If you set foot on our lands again, I won't be merciful a second time. Go." The three men stumbled away, shock and shame written across their faces. When they were gone, Dominic turned back to Elena. "Can you walk?" "I think so." "Good, because we need to talk, and I'd prefer to do it somewhere you're not naked and freezing." Heat flooded her face. "I'm wearing your jacket, which barely covers anything." His eyes darkened. "And while I'm enjoying the view, I'd rather the rest of my pack not share in my privilege." He swept her into his arms before she could protest, carrying her back through the forest like she weighed nothing. Dominic's private quarters were on the 3rd floor of the mansion, a sprawling suite decorated in dark woods and soft fabrics that managed to feel both masculine and comfortable. He set Elena on the leather couch and disappeared into another room, returning with sweatpants and a t-shirt. "They'll be too big, but it's better than nothing." Elena changed in the bathroom, studying her reflection in the mirror. Scratches covered her arms and legs, already healing with unnatural speed. Her hair was matted with dirt and leaves. Her eyes looked different, brighter, more alive, like something sleeping had finally woken up. She looked like a shifter. When she emerged, Dominic had poured 2 glasses of amber liquid. "Whiskey. You've earned it." She took the glass and downed it in one burning swallow. "Easy," he murmured. "They were going to kill me because of who my father was." Elena's voice was hollow. "Because of something he supposedly did before I was even born. David Chen didn't do anything except stand up to my father." Dominic refilled her glass. "The treason was a lie. My father wanted to expand territory through war, and David argued for diplomacy. So my father invented evidence, held a sham trial, and executed him. It was one of many atrocities. Why didn't you tell me this before?" Because I was trying to find the right time, the right words. He sat beside her, close but not touching. Elena, there's something else you need to know. David Chen had a mate, a human woman named Lin. After his execution, she disappeared. The pack searched for years but never found her. Elena's breath caught. My mother's name was Lin? I know. Dominic's eyes were gentle. I did the research after the library. Your mother was David's mate, which means my father didn't just die. He was murdered, and my mother felt the bond break. Horror washed through her. The mate bond. She felt him die, and it would have killed her if she wasn't human, if the bond wasn't slightly weaker. But it still hurt her, Dominic finished. Every day for the rest of her life, she lived with that grief, and she raised you alone, in fear, because she knew what my father was capable of. Elena set down her glass before she dropped it. This is too much. I know. I came here for answers, and every answer just leads to more pain. I know. Dominic finally touched her, his hand covering hers. But you also learned something important tonight. What? That you're strong. You shifted on your first try. In combat, without training. You fought 3 experienced enforcers and held your own. You showed mercy when you had every right to demand blood. His thumb traced circles on her palm. You're exactly what this pack needs, what I need. Elena's eyes burned. I'm terrified. Good, he smiled. Anyone who isn't terrified of this kind of responsibility is too arrogant to handle it. But, Elena, you don't have to decide tonight. You don't have to decide tomorrow. Take time. Learn about our world. Train your wolf. Get to know the pack. And when you're ready, if you choose to accept the bond, I'll be here. And if you choose to walk away, his voice roughened, then I'll let you go. The bond will burn. Then I'll burn. He lifted her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. But you'll be free. That's what matters. She didn't know if she believed him, but the raw honesty in his voice made her chest ache. Can I stay here tonight? The words escaped before she could stop them. I don't want to be alone. Always, he stood, offering his hand. Guest room is through there. Or, he hesitated, you can take my bed. I'll sleep on the couch. Where do you want me to sleep? His eyes flashed amber. In my arms. But I won't push. Elena should have chosen the guest room, should have maintained distance, protected her heart, given herself space to think clearly. Instead, she followed him into his bedroom. The bed was enormous, covered in soft charcoal bedding that smelled like him, pine and rain and wild places. Dominic pulled back the covers, and Elena climbed in, still wearing his oversized clothes. He slid in beside her, maintaining careful distance. Thank you, she whispered, for saving me tonight. You saved yourself first. His hand found hers in the darkness. I was just cleanup. She laughed despite everything, and the sound felt like release. Sleep claimed her quickly, exhaustion from the shift and emotional turmoil dragging her under. But this time, the dreams were different, gentler. She ran through moonlit forests with Dominic's wolf beside her, and it felt like coming home. Elena woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, and Dominic gone. A note on the pillow read, "Emergency pack business. Sarah will be here at noon to begin your training. Rest, eat, you're safe. D." Training. The word should have felt like pressure, like manipulation. Instead, it felt like possibility. Elena spent the morning exploring the suite, then the mansion. Pack members greeted her with cautious warmth. Word of last night's attack had clearly spread. A woman named Catherine brought her breakfast and stayed to chat, telling stories about pack life that made it sound less like a rigid hierarchy and more like an extended family. Not everyone accepted Dominic's reforms at first, Catherine admitted. The old ways were deeply embedded. But he proved himself through action, not just words. He protected the weak, elevated based on merit, and created systems to ensure everyone had a voice. That's why most of us would die for him. And the ones who wouldn't? Elena asked. Marcus and his friends were the last holdouts. Old guard who couldn't accept change. Catherine's expression turned grim. They'll spread poison in other territories now. You should be prepared for that. Dr. Winters arrived at noon with a gentle smile and a knowing look. Ready to learn about your wolf? They worked in a private clearing behind the mansion, far from curious eyes. Sarah explained the mechanics of shifting, the mental trigger, the physical sensation, the importance of staying calm. Your first shift was trauma-induced, which is common but dangerous. You need to learn control, or your wolf will emerge at unexpected times. It took 3 hours and countless false starts, but eventually, Elena managed a deliberate shift. Her wolf was smaller than Dominic's, leaner, built for speed rather than power, with silver-gray fur that caught the light like moonlight. "Beautiful," Sarah breathed. "Your coloring is rare. Silver wolves are considered blessed in some packs." Elena shifted back, getting better at the transition. "Or cursed in others?" "Perspective matters." Sarah handed her a robe. "How do you feel?" "Powerful, terrified, like I've been missing a limb my whole life and just grew it back." "That's accurate." Sarah squeezed her shoulder. "Your mother did what she thought was right, but suppression causes damage. You'll need time to fully integrate your wolf, to learn to coexist rather than fight. But you have good instincts, Elena. Trust them." They trained for a week. Elena learned to shift at will, to control her wolf's impulses, to read pack dynamics through scent and body language. She learned pack law, territory boundaries, the complex politics of shifter society. Sarah was a patient teacher, never pushing too hard, always ensuring Elena understood the why behind every lesson. Dominic kept his distance, though Elena felt his presence everywhere. The bond hummed between them, a constant awareness of his location, his emotions. When he was in meetings, she felt his frustration. When he went for runs in his wolf form, she felt his joy. It was intimate and invasive, and strangely comforting. On the 8th day, he appeared at training. "She's ready," Sarah announced, and Elena realized they'd planned this. "Ready for what?" she asked warily. "The pack gathering." Dominic approached slowly, giving her space. "Tomorrow night is the full moon. The pack will run together, and I'd like you to join us. No obligations, no expectations. Just be part of the community. See what you'd be choosing." Elena's wolf stirred with interest. "Will there be—" "No one will hurt you. I guarantee it." His eyes were steady. "But if at any point you're uncomfortable, you can leave. Sarah will stay close." It felt like a test, or maybe an offering. "Okay," Elena said. "I'll come." The full moon gathering started at dusk. Shifters assembled in the clearing where Elena had trained, families and friends clustered together, children racing around in wolf form while adults chatted. The atmosphere was festive, celebratory, nothing like the formal dinner party. Elena wore simple clothes, jeans and a tank top, easy to remove for shifting. Dominic appeared at her side as the moon rose, magnificent in its fullness. "Last chance to back out," he murmured. "I'm staying." His smile was radiant. The shift began organically. One wolf, then another, then dozens transforming in a ripple of fur and power. Elena let her wolf emerge, and the sensation was easier now, almost natural. Her silver-gray coat gleamed in the moonlight, and she felt eyes on her, curious, assessing, but not hostile. Dominic's black wolf approached, massive and commanding. He touched his nose to hers, a gesture of greeting and claim, and her wolf whined with pleasure. Then the run began. The pack moved as one, flowing through the forest like a living river. Elena stayed near Dominic, matching his pace, and for the first time in her life felt completely, utterly whole. This was what her mother had denied her, not out of cruelty, but out of love and fear. This connection, this belonging, this wild joy. They ran for hours, hunting small game, playing in streams, howling at the moon. Pups tumbled with each other while parents watched. Elders rested on sun-warmed rocks. Young wolves raced and tested their speed. It was chaos and harmony, primal and civilized, everything Elena had never known she was missing. When they returned to the clearing near dawn, she shifted back feeling euphoric and exhausted. "You looked happy," Dominic said, offering her clothes. "I was." Elena dressed quickly, aware of other shifters doing the same around them. "I didn't know it could be like this." "This is what I wanted you to see. Not politics or power or duty, just pack, family, home." The word lodged in her chest like an arrow. Home. "I need to ask you something," she said quietly. "If I reject the mate bond, if I walk away, what happens to you? Really?" Dominic's expression shuddered. "Don't worry about. Tell me." He was silent for a long moment. "The bond will burn, but I'll survive. Alphas are stronger, more resilient. It'll hurt, but I've endured worse." "You're lying." "Yes." The admission was raw. "It'll probably kill me. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. The bond is too strong, and I've already accepted it fully. Rejection from a true mate is catastrophic. But, Elena, that's not my burden to carry." She stepped closer. "Except it is. If I walk away, I'm choosing to hurt you, maybe kill you. That's not freedom, Dominic. That's just a different kind of cage." "So you'll stay out of obligation?" His voice was harsh. "That's not what I want. What do you want?" "I want you to choose me. Because you want to. Because this," he gestured at the clearing, the pack settling into post-run contentment, "makes you happy. Because the thought of a future without me is unbearable. Not because you feel guilty." Elena's throat tightened. "And if I'm not there yet?" "Then I'll wait." He cupped her face, thumbs brushing her cheekbones. "I'll wait as long as you need, Elena. Years if necessary. Because you're worth waiting for." The sun was rising, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Around them, pack members were heading home, tired and satisfied. Children laughed, adults embraced, and the whole scene radiated such overwhelming peace that Elena's eyes burned. "I want to try," she whispered. "I'm not ready to accept the bond completely. I'm still scared, still angry about everything that was taken from me. But I want to try, to see if this, us, can be real." Dominic's smile was like sunrise. "That's all I'm asking." He kissed her then, soft and careful, and Elena's wolf sang with recognition. This was home. The next month passed in a blur of discovery. Elena continued her university classes, but now she understood she was studying her own biology from a new perspective. She wrote papers on shifter physiology that should never be able to publish, drawing connections between her coursework and lived experience. She spent weekends at the estate, training with Sarah, learning pack law with Thomas, helping Margaret organize community events. The pack gradually accepted her presence, curiosity transforming into cautious approval. She wasn't their queen yet, but she was becoming one of them. And Dominic? Dominic was everywhere and nowhere, present but not pushy, affectionate but respectful. He'd take her running under the moon, then drop her at her apartment with nothing more than a kiss on the forehead. He'd sit beside her during pack dinners, their thighs touching, but never push for more. It was driving her insane. "Just sleep with him already," her roommate and best friend, Jen, finally said after Elena spent another evening staring at her phone. "The sexual tension is painful to witness." "It's not about sex," Elena threw a pillow at her. It's about everything. If I sleep with him, if I fully accept the bond, there's no going back. I'm choosing this life forever. And the alternative is what? Finishing your degree and then what? Getting a normal job? Dating normal guys? Pretending you're not a shifter with a literal soulmate waiting for you? Jen's expression was unusually serious. Elena, I love you, but you're not fooling anyone. You're already in love with him. You're just scared to admit it. Of course I'm scared, Elena's voice cracked. My mother spent her whole life running from this world. She died telling me to stay away. How do I just betray everything she sacrificed for? By living. Jen moved to sit beside her. Your mom loved you enough to hide you, to protect you. But you're gone, babe, and you're not hiding anymore. You can't unshift your wolf. You can't unmeet Dominic. So the question is, are you going to spend the rest of your life being afraid, or are you going to choose happiness? The words hit like a slap. That night, Elena dreamed of her mother. They were in their old apartment, before the cancer, when Elena was 15 and everything was simple. Her mother was making tea, humming softly, and Elena sat at the kitchen table doing homework. "Mama," Dream Elena said, "did you ever regret running?" Her mother turned, and her smile was sad. "Every day. But I never regretted keeping you safe." "What if I don't want to be safe anymore?" "Then you've already made your choice, my love." Her mother came closer, cupping Elena's face. "I ran because I was afraid. Because losing your father broke something in me that never healed. But you were stronger than I was, braver. And that boy who looks at you like you hung the moon, he's nothing like the monsters I feared. He's worthy of you. How do you know?" "Because you wouldn't love him if he wasn't." Her mother kissed her forehead. "Stop running, Elena. Start living. That's all I ever really wanted for you." Elena woke with tears on her face and absolute certainty in her heart. She texted Dominic, "Can you come get me?" His response was immediate, "On my way." He arrived in 20 minutes, still rumpled from sleep, eyes wild with concern. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong." Elena grabbed his hand, pulling him toward her apartment. "Everything's right. Finally." She led him inside, ignoring Jen's knowing smirk as her roommate disappeared into her bedroom with exaggerated discretion. "Elena." Dominic caught her wrist, turning her to face him. "Talk to me." "I'm done waiting. I'm done being scared." She stepped closer, close enough to feel his heat, smell his scent. "I want to accept the bond, fully, completely. I want to be your mate." His eyes flashed amber. "Are you sure? Because I'm sure." She rose on her toes, pressing her lips to his. "I love you. I think I've loved you since the moment my blood entered your veins, and I felt something in me recognize something in you. I was just too stubborn and scared to admit it. Elena." Her name was a prayer, a plea, a promise. "I love you too. So much it terrifies me." "Then be terrified with me." He kissed her properly then, deep and claiming and full of barely restrained hunger. Elena's wolf rose to meet his, the bond between them blazing to life with an intensity that stole her breath. This was more than physical attraction. This was souls recognizing each other, two halves becoming whole. They made love slowly, carefully, Dominic treating her like something precious and breakable, until Elena demanded he stop holding back. Then it was fire and passion and the primal joy of two predators claiming each other. When it was over, lying tangled in her narrow bed, Elena felt the bond settle into place, a golden thread connecting her heart to his, permanent and unbreakable. "Now what?" she whispered. "Now you finish your degree, build your life, figure out what kind of queen you want to be." He pressed a kiss to her temple. "We have time, Elena. Forever, actually. Forever," she repeated, testing the word. It didn't sound like a cage anymore. It sounded like possibility. 6 months later, Elena stood in front of the Northern Territory pack wearing a simple white dress and a crown of moonflowers, Dominic at her side in formal black, and accepted the role of Luna, queen and co-alpha of their people. The ceremony was held under a full moon, traditional and ancient, witnessed by hundreds of shifters who had come to accept that their king had chosen well. Elena spoke her vows in a clear voice, promising to serve and protect, to lead with compassion and strength, to honor the bond that made her both human and wolf, both individual and pack. When Dominic kissed her, the pack howled their approval. Afterward, at the celebration, Thomas approached her with a small wooden box. "Your father would be proud," he said quietly. "David was my friend, my brother in all but blood. And seeing his daughter stand as queen, knowing his legacy led to this moment, it's a gift." Inside the box was a silver pendant, a wolf mid-leap, beautifully crafted. "It was his," Thomas explained. "I saved it before the execution. Your mother should have had it, but we couldn't find her. Now it's yours." Elena's eyes filled with tears as she fastened it around her neck. Her father's legacy transformed from tragedy to triumph. "Thank you," she whispered. The party lasted until dawn, pack members celebrating their new Luna with genuine joy. Elena danced with Dominic under the stars, his arms around her waist, both of them still partially dressed in formal wear. "No regrets?" he asked. "Only that I waited so long," she smiled up at him. "Though I guess the timing had to be right. I had to be ready to choose this, not have it forced on me." "My wise queen," he spun her, laughing. "What shall we do with this life we've built?" "Live it," Elena said simply. "Love it, protect it. And maybe, eventually, fill this big estate with children who'll never have to hide what they are." Dominic's eyes softened. "Children?" "Eventually. I want to finish my degree first, and there's so much to learn about leading, about being Luna. But yes," she touched his face, "I want a family. A real one. The kind my mother dreamed of but never got to have. Then that's what we'll build." He kissed her softly. "Together." As the sun rose on their first day as fully bonded mates, officially recognized by the pack, Elena felt her mother's presence like a blessing. The fear that had driven Lynn's choices had transformed into Elena's strength. The tragedy of David's death had led to Dominic's reformation. And the desperate act of a poor student giving blood to save a stranger had become a love story that would reshape an entire territory. Sometimes the universe did know best. Elena Chen, daughter of a traitor, raised in hiding, suppressed and afraid, had become Elena Thorne, Luna of the Northern Territory, living proof that mercy, courage, and love could heal even the deepest wounds. And as she stood in Dominic's arms, her pack celebrating around them, her father's pendant cool against her heart, Elena finally understood what home truly meant. It wasn't a place. It wasn't safety or hiding or running. Home was standing in the sunlight with the person who saw every broken piece of you and loved you anyway. Home was choosing courage over fear. Home was right here, right now, forever.